I'm back.
What's up, Tampa Bay? I hope everyone is safe, sanitizing, and realizing new things. I'm Chuck Turgeon, the most hype man you will meet on the street, here to get you in to know about tonight's show. On today's show, we'll talk to NFL legend Doug Williams about the return of football and the imminent name change for the Washington Redskins. The South Tampa Chamber of Commerce shares with us how Tampa businesses are dealing with the impacts of COVID. Then, we're seeing red with Aero Environmental when we talk fire ants. Finally, we are back in the doctor's corner to learn about communicable diseases with Dr. Uhura Smith. And now, for your host, the always marvelous Michael Clayton!
Oh, round of applause, please. Why? Because sports are back. Now, the crazy thing is that COVID has only gotten worse. Well, who cares? Sports are back. Baseball is having a shortened season, and a sport is pretty much has a built-in social distancing. So even though over 31 players did test positive on opening day, I'm not too concerned about Major League Baseball players. But the one thing I was thinking about is how to have an edge. Yes, players would do anything to win, and so would I. And if I was a catcher, I would be like, I'll have you worried at the plate. I'll be like, hey, Kevin Kiermaier. Hey, KK. Make sure to blow that breath across his knees. Hey, K, you know that list that we took? I think I'm on it. Just playing. I would do it. Now, the NBA really loves their players. They're attempting to create what they call the bubble. And that's when nobody leaves, nobody comes in, and let's just all cross our fingers and stay COVID-free so we can see LeBron win a championship for the Lakers. I mean, a shortened season for LeBron is like a starving man with a PDQ free sandwich coupon. He about to eat, and he's about to eat good. I love me some LeBron and PDQ. Football, on the other hand, in my opinion, is getting the long end of the stick. Not the short end, the long end of the stick. No grease. I mean, if basketball needs a bubble, then football players are going to need at least a dome. I mean, we have 4 or 5 times the people. I mean, some teams have even elected of letting their players stay at home if they want to during training camp. Now, that's just opening the door for disaster. I mean, you can't monitor a nanny from bringing in that COVID, all right? If the players have kids and family members, you can't potentially monitor the family for bringing in that COVID, all right? It's just too much room for error. And as far as the testing goes, allegedly, rapid tests are not 100%. Now, I don't know how accurate they are, but 3 weeks ago when my family took a COVID test, which we came back negative, the doctor told me that rapid tests are only 60% accuracy. 60% accuracy? You gotta ask yourself, if contraception worked only 60% of the time, won't do it. Not gonna do it. 60% is just not good enough to trust if that's true. Now, like I said, it was 3 weeks ago, and a lot can change in 3 weeks. I mean, Trump said that the virus was going to disappear 3 weeks ago.
It's going to disappear. One day, it's like a miracle. It will disappear.
Now, it's a whole other beat to the drum.
We're asking everybody that when you are not able to socially distance, wear a mask.
At least he's being honest, finally. Speaking of changes, listen, things are about to change in Washington, and I'm not talking about the White House. All right, we'll have to wait till November to see if that happens. No, I'm talking about the Washington Redskins. Now, this story has been buzzing the past few years about changing the name of the team due to the insensitivity to Native Americans. And I'm going to talk to a man who has probably forgotten more about the Redskins than I will ever know. And I'm going to try to dig and get some answers. I'm talking about the great Doug Williams. It is time to get live.
reason I came to Trinity Dental Arts is because my mouth was in horrible shape. It is a long drive here from Kissimmee, but was most impressed with what I saw. Dr. G's credentials, the training that she'd had. Every person in this office made me feel very comfortable.
And then by the time they walk out, you have a different person. And to see that over and over again is so fulfilling.
I am so excited about my first guest today. He's made history on several occasions, breaking racial barriers on the football field. He was the first black quarterback taken in the first round of the NFL draft in 1978 to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and then became the first black quarterback to win a Super Bowl with the Washington Redskins. After retiring from the NFL, he coached college football at Morehouse College and then returned to his alma mater, Grambling State. He is currently the Senior Vice President of Player Development at the Washington Redskins. Please welcome the legend, Doug Williams. Doug, I have to say thank you so much for joining us today. I know that you're a very busy man with training camp kicking off. I want to get right into this thing. The whole world is battling COVID, and every organization may handle things differently. How have the Washington Redskins handled their players coming in and dealing with the COVID situation?
Mike, I think all teams handle it the same way. You couldn't meet in person. I think we all become real good Zoom people over the last few months. All the meetings that we have had actually has been on Zoom. And I think the players and the coaches have done a tremendous job getting over to the guys what to expect. And I also think it's a good learning experience for some of the players because now they got a chance to just concentrate strictly on the playbook. And when they get here, they might be a little more ready to go out and perform in-person workouts.
Right. Your time in the National Football League, was just amazing. You accomplished things that no man has ever accomplished, and was the first to do it in the best way. What would you say was your journey from college to the pros and making that transition, being a black quarterback, things that you had to deal with? How was that process for you when you were young?
Well, number one, I was fortunate, and things that are going on today. I say this is the second coming of the civil rights era. And I was doing that first civil rights was a little different. The good thing about this one, the diverse is a little different. And as a quarterback coming into Tampa back in 1978, you're talking about 42 years ago, things were strictly different. I can remember standing on the sideline and the national anthem was playing. And after the game, I had a reporter to ask me what was going through my mind when I'm on the sideline national anthem. And I told him, I was, being honest, I'm point blank. I said I was counting the number of black coaches on the other sideline. And at Tampa, we only had one black coach, and that was Willie Brown. So at that time, there wasn't a lot of black coaches in the National Football League. And the very next day, Coach McKay asked me to come to his office. And I went into his office thinking, we want to talk about the game. And bless his soul, Tom McEwen was sitting in there. He was the editor of the Tampa Trib at that time. And I sat down and Coach McKay said, Dougie, Tom want to tell you a little something. And I looked at him, and Tom told me that I can't make them kind of comments down here in Tampa. Kind of threw me for a loop. All I was asking was saying that how many black coaches was on the sideline. And he said, you can't do that down here. And I knew right then, being from Louisiana, I understood where he was coming from.
Right, right. Doug, you opened the door for black quarterbacks to be respected, to be looked at in a different light. When you see guys like Patrick Mahomes kind of set records of, in terms of their salary and being a person of color, how does that make you feel to know that you were a pioneer of that, and how do you feel about a contract being issued to such a great player?
Well, number one, I look at it, Mike, I tell my son DJ all the time that I was born too soon. but at the end of the day, it just goes to show you where the game has come from and where it is today from the economic standpoint. to be able to sign that type of contract, and kudos to him, and if you're paying for production, he certainly deserves to be paid for what he's done over the last 2 years.
Doug, your owners for the Redskins said that they would never change the name. A lot of things have happened in our country that have kind of spearheaded a different thought process, and we're hearing stories that the Washington Redskins may be changing the name. How accurate is that? Is that something that you guys discuss as staff members?
No, that's something that was said a few years ago, but we at this juncture right now, Mike, and I think just like everybody else, Mr. Snyder has the right to look at it from that standpoint with all other things that are happening, and I think we're in the process, no doubt about it. We watch the football team right now. We don't have a name. We don't have a logo. We actually are waiting on to see what happened, and we got some people in place who's going to handle that, and I think it'll be unveiled hopefully before the season starts. We really don't know, but I think we all will know before that time.
In terms of, the season, how does one kind of charter these waters, or walk these waters, so to speak? If a player gets COVID, what's the process behind the team handling that? Is it the next man up mentality? Are there extra numbers that a team can have on reserve? How are you going to handle that problem if this becomes a problem within the organization?
I think, everybody has the same concern, Mike, as far as, the virus itself. You would hope that you take all the precautionary measures that you possibly can to prevent it. But we also know that this pandemic has wreaked havoc all over the country. And it's just like a lot of other things, injuries and stuff like that. Hopefully, nobody does come up with it. But if you do, you got to have a depth chart.
Doug, we've come a long way. And, my final question for you is, as a nation, we all know that sports has the power to unite. What are your comments to where we are in the country, where we need to go for healing, for us all to come together in unity?
Mike, I think you hit the key word is healing, and I say, that's old cliche, and when you talk about education, it's homeschooling. And when I say that, I'm talking about the standpoint, I think we as parents, we sometimes become the worst teacher at home because we put things in our kids' head that's really not true, and we want them to believe certain things. But I think healing is what we really need, and be able to cross the aisle. I think everybody got to be able to open up, and that's tough for a lot of people.
Doug, that's all I got for you, baby. I appreciate you, joining me today, and I got to say thank you, man, because nobody really knows this, but you were the main reason why I got drafted to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, because you've known me for a good part of my life, and you had a lot of things to say when they were on the board to draft the old MC.
Mike, I just want to say, man, I'm proud of you, and when we drafted you, we drafted you with a purpose, because we realized at that particular time where we were, the best football player on the board was Michael Clayton.
There it is, baby. Well, Doug, thank you for your greatness. Thank you for joining us today, and thank you for who you are and what you've done. Continue the blessings, man, and good job and great luck and all of those good things for the Washington Redskins. We'll talk to you soon, Doug.
The Washington team, Mike. The Washington team.
The Washington team. There you go. The Washington team. Let me get it right. Thank you, baby. When we come back, we'll see how local businesses are adapting to the effects of COVID with the South Tampa Chamber of Commerce. Don't go away.
I earn your trust. I earn your business.
Call Ierna's Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. Ierna's and Bryant are doing whatever it takes to keep you and your wallet comfortable. CAC 1813676.
IEarnaAir.com.
Your quality of life is impacted by pests trying to make your home their home.
At Aero Environmental Services, we keep your family and pets safe from unwanted pests. To learn more, visit aeroservices.com and schedule your free total home pest evaluation today.
Aero Environmental Services provides effective pest control that improves your quality of life so you can truly relax and enjoy yourself with friends and family.
My first guest today heads up an organization that was established 94 years ago and has more than 650 businesses and organizations making up this active association. I'm talking about the South Tampa Chamber of Commerce. Please welcome to Michael Clayton Live, Kelly Flannery, President and CEO. 94 years, Kelly, is a long time to have a legacy, and now in the face of COVID, how are you guys functioning and kind of getting through the waters with this pandemic at hand?
Well, thank you so much for having me today, Michael. I'm glad to be here and to share with you a little bit about what we're seeing out in the community. Just like many businesses, we have had to look at our organization and adapt over the past several months to make sure that we were providing our members and businesses with all of the services they need. We have essentially narrowed down our focus to 5 main areas: advocacy on behalf of businesses at all levels of government, providing information and vetted resources for individuals and businesses, valuable programming and educational opportunities virtually during this time. Promoting South Tampa is open for business, and currently, as we go through this transitional period, recovery and rebuilding.
As a member of the chamber, what types of resources or benefits do members actually receive?
Yes, so we provide opportunities for our members to engage in education, leadership, advocacy, and volunteerism. Currently, right now, we're doing that in a virtual setting, but we've done nearly 70 virtual opportunities over the past 140 days, and we're just continuing to focus on how we can connect people and provide businesses with the tools and resources they need to recover and be successful.
That was my next question, creating unique ways to keep your members engaged. Have you had to be, come up with different ideas and things like that?
Yes, we were the first Chamber of Commerce in our region to go fully virtual with all of our programming. We've been providing webinars throughout the last several months with educational opportunities. This past week we had a speed networking event, which was a lot of fun for these businesses to be able to get out there and share with others what they're doing and how they can continue to work together to get through this time.
Are there ever any political talks at hand? Changes that laws and things of that nature, are those discussions really in depth politically?
They are, and right now, even more so than ever, we have been advocating on behalf of business at all levels of government, working with our local governments here in the city of Tampa and Hillsborough County, as well as Tallahassee, with some of the different phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 that we're seeing as businesses reopen. And we've had the great opportunity to work with our senators and congressional leaders as they've worked through these CARES program and PPP and other types of programs that have been put in place to assist business owners.
How do you actually become a member of the chamber?
Well, we have an open membership. One of our top 5 values is inclusivity, and so all are welcome. While we focus mainly on advocacy and events and programs in the South Tampa community, we actually have members in 64 different zip codes across the Southeast United States. So you would just go to southtampachamber.org. There's a link on our website to join, or you can give us a call at the chamber office and we can walk you through it over the phone.
Kelly, thank you so much for your service and what you do for our city.
Thank you so much. Thank you for all you're doing as well.
Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and to see expanded interviews, subscribe to our YouTube channel at Michael Clayton Live.
Benefits of dental implants are numerous. They give patients the confidence that they've been missing for years, and they are designed to last a lifetime.
I did look at other places, but I tell you, the minute I walked into this place, I felt calm. Meeting Dr. July, she just immediately, I felt comfortable with her. She asked questions. For me to be excited about going to the dentist is an amazing feeling in itself.
You're servicing your own yard. Have you ever accidentally stepped in a fire ant mound? Then you spend days drowning your feet and legs in calamine lotion? Not fun. Bob Wilkins is back on the road to give us a drill on fire ants.
Hi, Michael. Good to see you again. Bob Wilkins here on property with one of our Arrow customers. Also joining me is John Esquivel, one of our most experienced pest control specialists. And today, we're going to talk about a pest that anybody who's worked in their lawn, played in the grass during the summer, has experienced meeting in the worst possible way. And John, that is the fire ant. Tell our viewers a little bit about that nasty bug and why it's so important that we treat it here in Florida.
Okay, brief history about the fire ant. They were accidentally brought over to the United States on the cargo ships in Alabama, where they strictly remain in the south to southwest areas because the northern climate, the soil is a little bit too cold for them to reproduce like they need to and attack. Fire ants mainly hang out in the foundation and plant areas around your home. So a lot of homeowners don't realize that when they're working in their shrub beds and that, they develop these nasty bites. They stand corrected. Fire ants do not bite. That's a big conception. They sting. Fire ants sting. They do not bite. They sting and continue to sting. And once they sting, other fire ants will come around if you're stepping on their mound. Now, fire ant mounds, people say fire ant mounds, it takes several months for a fire ant mound to develop. So they've been under the ground for a while, getting their colony big enough. So finally, when you see a little mound appear, they've been there for a while. So it's very careful. You have to be very careful, because if you disturb that mound, they're all going to come out and start attacking you. At first you don't feel it, then you look down, you're going to get your little red welts, they're going to start stinging you, and that's when we get the phone calls.
So John, if I treated a fire ant mound that I saw myself with one of those DIY products, and I think it's gone because a couple days later I don't see any activity, but then a couple days later another mound sprouts up, how come?
Good question. Fire ants can travel up to 25 feet away from the colony. They can number up to 200,000 per colony. So you're going to have them pop up in other areas.
So the bottom line is, even if it's kind of like whack-a-mole. You think you've killed one mound and it'll pop up another way because you aren't treating the entire problem, the entire lawn. Is that the most important part? That spot treatments really aren't the best way to treat fire ants? It's better to treat the whole lawn?
That's correct. We'll come out, do a thorough investigation, and treat the whole lawn and get rid of the problem for you.
John, is there a specific type of grass or an environment that fire ants seem to find most attractive in which to live? Is there a specific environment, type of grass, home?
We see mostly fire ant mounds we'll see in bahia lawns, grass that hasn't been taken care of. You'll see sandy mounds in there. You know, that's where we'll see a lot of fire ants, because people think they just have grass that gets watered. No, they can attract other insects, get in there, then the fire ants will come and start creating their home. They like to nestle up against the foundation of your home, inside of your shrub beds, and they can be easily transported from trees and shrubs. So you buy a tree at a store, shrubs, bring it to your home, or you have a shrub planted, you want to replant it, put it in a pot, take it to the other side of the house, and there you go. Fire ants come out and start another colony.
So last question, John. If a homeowner comes out and sees that small mound of dirt and they see the activity on there, should they call first or should they try to treat it themselves? Because I know the initial inclination when I had it before I had Arrow come out and treat my home was, if I saw it, I'd try to treat it myself. What's your best counsel if someone comes out and they start seeing these little mounds?
I would have them give us a call right away. Our inspectors will come out, do a thorough inspection of your yard. If you see one, I guarantee you're going to see other mounds around the home. Let us check the foundation, the whole yard, to ensure you that we can get rid of the problem the first time and not having you keep repeating, running to the DIY store, spending your money. Why not have the experts come out, handle it, do it properly, so that ensures safety for you and your family and your pets.
Last question. Does a homeowner need to have a full lawn program in order to get their lawn treated for fire ants?
Great question. At Arrow, we offer services for your lawn care as well as strictly for pest control, fire ants in your yard. That's a good question, because we do offer that. So some people that don't necessarily have the lawn that needs the fertilization and the weed control, but they need insect control. Fire ants is a big one, and that we can handle.
Well, I'm going to throw it back to you, Michael, there in the studio. We don't like talking about fire ants, but we certainly know how to get rid of them. Back to you, Michael.
Thanks, Bob. If you have any further questions, or if there is something that you want to talk to us about with Arrow, drop us a line at arrowservices.com/Michael. Stay tuned, because we'll be right back to the Doctor's Corner right after the break.
Honey, look at our neighbors. They're out in their backyard again, barbecuing with friends, and their kids are playing outside.
They use Arrow Environmental Services. I would love to go out in our yard more, but every time we do, we get eaten alive by mosquitoes and the kids get bit by fire ants.
Maybe we should call Arrow Environmental Services too.
If you want to take back your yard from unwanted pests, contact the folks at Arrow Environmental Services Pest Control. With same-day service in most areas, you can start enjoying a pest-free lifestyle tomorrow.
We're happy to be joined again in the Doctor's Corner with Dr. Smith. Thank you again for joining us. You know, one of the biggest words we are hearing these days is virus. But what is it?
Well, thank you so much for having me, Michael, and it is rather confusing. I like to think of viruses as small machines that have genetic coding or programming in them that tell them to make copies of themselves over and over again. It's a little difficult to conceptualize, but we can't really see them with the naked eye, so we have to use our imagination or a microscope in order to see them.
Doc, the common cold is a virus, right?
Yes, in fact they are, and you'll notice we're not very good at controlling the common cold.
Is that like a bacteria?
Yes and no. So a virus is not like a bacteria in that it's not a living thing. It needs another person or human being or tissue in order to live. It gets that warmth that it needs and sometimes even food.
So are they both germs?
Yes, in fact they are germs. Bacteria, viruses, fungi, protozoa, they all are pretty complicated, take us way back to our high school biology, but all germs live in slightly different environments. So think of germs like, for example, in our common things that we come in contact with every day, for example, a fish. Fish live in water, right? If you think of frogs, frogs can live in water and on land, but if you have a dog or a cat, they have to live on land only. This is the same way that germs function.
Now, Doc, I heard that there are bad germs and good germs. Is that true?
That is definitely true. In fact, there are good germs, like good bacteria that live in our gut. They help our immune system. They help us digest our food and absorb our vitamins. But there's also bad germs, like viruses, for example, like coronavirus.
Oh, I get it. So now that we understand germs, what is an infectious disease?
So we talked about germs invading the body. Infectious disease is when a germ invades the body and causes it to malfunction. Like with COVID-19, for example, it can invade the lungs, causes the lungs to malfunction. That's why people get short of breath and they may need oxygen.
So, Doc, then what is a communicable disease?
So a communicable disease is a disease that's spread from person to person and becomes contagious. Think of a disease that's communicable similar to glitter. You have a friend that loves glitter. Glitter eyeshadow, glitter lotion, glitter lipstick, glitter everywhere. You take that friend to a party. How many people at the end of the night do you think have glitter on them?
Oh my gosh, I have daughters, glitters for days, maybe even months. Okay, Doc, listen, I get it, glitter. But how can we change the likelihood of being attacked by communicable disease?
So we have to change the way in which we celebrate community, which is very difficult actually. So we have to find new and interesting ways in order to interact with one another and express ourselves that's different than what we're used to. So instead of shaking hands, maybe we elbow tap. Instead of giving people hugs and kisses, we have to wear masks. Instead of getting to have dinner parties together, we have to do Zoom parties. We have to get very creative, Michael.
In that case, how about an air high five? Good job.